And joining us now here on In the Circle at D1 Softball, powered by 643. She's entering her second year as head coach of Charlotte, coming off a 30-win season, including 17 wins in the AAC. Of course, made a deep run in the conference tournament championship. Of course, was assistant at Clemson under John Rittman prior to that. Has been a standout player before that. Speak of Courtney Breault joining us back here on In the Circle at D1 Softball. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. It's exciting to get back into this time of year and we're closing into season time.
Let me ask, just your second year, what did you learn last year being in the chair as a head coach? Describe that first year and what you learned.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a trial by fire at times, but honestly, you just go and do your best with what you have in the moment and just try to really stack days on top of each other. I think I'm lucky to be surrounded by great staff, three great people that I can bounce ideas off of at any point. And that, really help me look good, right? But help the team look good too. And I think that, for us, it was just trying to, build relationships with our team, and try to figure out how to individually reach each person so that in the end we can come together as a team and have as much success on the field as possible. So there was a lot of learning each other, the girls learning us learning the girls, and us figuring out what we're doing here at Charlotte. But it was a great year and definitely, full of experience and full of just, things that we can take forward, or take moving forward.
How would you describe this fall then, your second fall versus the first fall, as far as is it slower? Is it more routinish? Is it what? How would you describe it compared to last year?
Yeah, I think this year was definitely maybe a settled feeling is what I've been going to, just feeling settled. The girls have an idea of what we're about, and it's not as much really teaching the foundation of that, it's building off of that. So I feel like we were able to kind of get into things a little bit quicker, and move on versus kind of having to go back day by day and go through, be repetitive. So, I think we had a great fall. I think we came, together as a team. I think we got better. And, just kind of you compare last year to this year. Like last year, we had a lot of different moving parts. We had a few girls that were here from the previous team. We had a bunch of transfers. We had a bunch of freshmen, and there was a real process to just coming together as a team, and even the girls learning each other. And I think that this year you can already see there's just such a closeness within the team already, where I feel like that took a while to build, and maybe even I think we got really close in the spring, but it took a long time to kind of get there versus this year. The closeness is there, the familiarity is there, and I think the standard of what we do and how we want to work is there.
Mentioned you won 30 games, finished third in the American, with a good deep run. At the end of the season to get to third place, made the run in the conference tournament. In retrospect, did you almost exceed your expectations? Because I know when we talked last year, you've kind of inherit. You mentioned what you inherited. I think people from the outside the program had questions about, boy, this could be a tough first year. But really, when you consider it, you also had like a top 10 non-conference schedule strength, and it aren't honestly, if you a few games go differently, you might be in the conversation for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a little crazy to think of what we were able to do. I think when I look at my expectations, I didn't really know what to expect. I think, throughout the fall, we were learning our team, and even at the beginning of the spring, we were learning our team. And, you said it, we had a really tough schedule. There was no getting around it. And, I think we started something like 2-12, and, we're able to get to that 30-win mark. And, even though we lost early, I think we gained confidence from it. And I think that we really saw what type of team we could be. Um, which, you when you go through tough spells, it's which way do you go? Do you just let it, tank the whole season, or do you persevere and get through it? And I thought that we did a really great job of coming together and moving past that and finding the lessons within the struggles. But also being able to compete really hard with some of the top teams in the country. So um, yes, I guess nobody would have expected us to get to 30 wins and, to finish third in the conference and to overall have a great season. And so I think my expectation was to obviously do well. But, what was that number? I don't know if I had a number in my head. But obviously, in coaching, like softball, if you can get to 30 wins, that's a good year. And that was honestly, as the season went on, that was a number that we talked about with the girls, too, is like, even at the times that we're struggling, it's like, hey, I really believe we can still get to 30 wins. Like we have that ahead of us. And, um, that was a number that as a staff, we were very happy, and as a program, very happy to get to, and to just, you know, do so well down the stretch was, very, very happy with how the season went.
Was there a turning point in the season where you're like, "Ooh, we're turning the corner here"? Because I remember, for me, from the outside, when you beat North Texas to open conference, I was like, "Ooh, okay," and that would really, I thought, set the tone for you for the conference season that you ended up having. But from
Yeah.
your internally, what do you think the turning point was?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can have a few inflection points. I definitely think that that was a big turning point in the season, confidence-wise, and that was our first, American Conference weekend. And to go down to, Dallas and win the series was huge for us and huge for our confidence. And we had such a tough schedule leading up to that, and it was like, okay, we're in conference, like we can go do it. And I honestly believe, we went to Clearwater and we went 0 and 5, and it was obviously not a good feeling, but I do believe that that weekend we competed in every game, I think, except the UCLA one. But uh we were in it with the top teams, and we played Auburn really well, played Texas A&M really well. We were right there with Liberty, and we really should have beat San Diego State, but they made a great comeback in the bottom of the seventh. And um, just seeing even how we competed in that weekend gave us a lot of confidence, even though we went 0 and 5 and ended up with no really good results. But I think that those two weekends were huge. I think um, being able to take a game from FAU was huge. And, that series was back and forth a lot. And even the game that we won was pretty improbable. I don't, at this point, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think we scored like 7 runs with 2 outs in
Yes.
the one inning. And you're not going to do that very often. So I think we just saw in a few different points throughout the years, just that no matter what the score was, no matter what was going on in the game, like we had a chance, and we weren't done until, the final pitch was thrown and the final out was made. Until then, we have a chance to make a comeback, or to go find a way to win.
Yeah, you all weren't shy of playing some wild games. That's true. That FAU game was wild. I think you were, because that was like in the sixth inning. I think you were down six, something like that. Next thing you know, you bombarded them and
Yeah.
came back and pulled that game off. It was incredible in Boca, and that was a big part of your success last year was your offense. An offense that would end up being, if you look at all the offensive stats, a top three offense in program history, depending on the category. And one of the, obviously, the catalyst for that was Jenna Lord, the American Conference Player of the Year. 21 home runs led you the way in almost every offensive stat. What made Jenna Lord? What makes Jenna Lord arguably one of the best hitters in the sport?
Yeah, I mean, what Jenna did last year was unbelievable. It seemed like every time there was a need or there was an opportunity, Jenna was getting it done. And, I think for her, she's always had the tools. I think she just was confident last year and able to be herself and able to just like go out and have fun. and maybe for her too, a little bit of the Charlotte, like the expectation wasn't there as high as, previous programs and previous years where it was just like, we're going out, we're going to do our best, we're going to have fun, and we're going to go play hard and compete hard. And we all want to win. The winning is always there and the competitiveness. But I just think she was able to really dial in and, I think she was healthy, which is something that she has lacked in her career. Um, and, I think that that's a huge part of it is just overall health and, um, you know, of all the things. So, just really a special, special season. And, we're really happy to have her back and kind of have this one more year with her. And, I know that, she's about to continue to do that, continue to have that success that she had, last year. And she's been showing it all fall. And, one of the big things about Jenna, she's a coach on the field. She sees the game really well. She is, somebody that we can rely on to help on the field, and we don't always have to call the huddles, or we don't have to always be the one talking. Her and some of the other leaders on our team can do that and can pick the right times for it.
Have you talked to her about this senior? Because sometimes seniors feel like they got to, top what they did the year before. Have you, how do you kind of keep her to say, hey, just be yourself, that you're going to be fine?
Yeah, honestly, we haven't had big conversations like that. I haven't felt like it's been maybe necessary up to this point. And, we'll see how the year goes and see if there's moments where, her or any of the other seniors are pressing a little bit. And, everybody's coming out with their post last fall game, last this. And you try not to think about stuff like that when you're a senior because it does get you on the emotional side. But, I think for Jenna, for the seniors, it's like we've just got to go play and have fun and continue to do what we do. But I do think that there's, the pressure of repeating or, continuing that success. But Jenna's really level-headed and she doesn't get too big or too down, in the good or the bad. So definitely feel like she's somebody that can ride those waves and do it in the right way and that she won't have to, fight those demons maybe.
Right. She's, of course, a big part of the offense, but not the only part of the offense. You have other significant parts. You did lose some pieces as well, but how do you protect her, the offense? That's a question you'll get asked between now and February. Talk about some of the other pieces you have and you expect to contribute this year on the offensive end.
Yeah, I mean, our offense is loaded. I think we had a great year last year, and I honestly believe that we have the ability to put out an even better lineup this year. I think we're deep. I think we're gonna have almost an issue getting people in, and we're gonna have some pinch hitting options, and we're gonna be able to continue to put runs on the board. I think two that kind of pop in to my mind quickly are Tegan Ritchie, and Jayla Jarrell, who was the freshman of the co-freshman of the year in the American. Both kids are just monsters. Like Tegan especially, she can hit the long ball. We saw it still in the fall. I think she's gotten better and continues to get better, and on both sides of the ball defensively too. I know that was something that we were harping on, and she's been putting in the work. Jayla Jarrell, somebody that can create chaos, with her speed, with her bat. Just two that I think will definitely be right there and continuing their production from last year. Two transfers that we picked up, Audrey Wilson and Sydney Lewis. Audrey's coming from South Carolina, Sydney's coming from Maryland. Sydney, this is her last year. She's been a consistent hitter in the Big Ten throughout her career, 300 with double digit bombs. Like she's gonna be somebody that we can kind of plug in and get it done right away. And her coming from the left side, she's somebody that can definitely help kind of protect Jenna, but also get good pitches herself and find a way to get on base and move the ball. And Audrey's got crazy power. She's been great to have over and kind of solidifying the catching role along with Reese. Um, Cameron and from she was at Houston. Um, and so, we're looking forward to kind of having them in the lineup. Also, returners, Olivia Williams, London Dirks. Um, I'm trying to see if I'm missing anybody. I know I am. Savannah Wynn. I mean, we're gonna be able to still make it work, and we have power, but we have speed, and we have people that hit for average, and um, we're kind of able to do a little bit of everything. Um, I'm trying to think. We've got a couple freshmen that I think have the ability to get in the lineup and to produce. Chloe Aldrich, Carly Keller, both had great falls. And so we're excited to kind of uh, you know, get facing other people that are not our pitchers every day. Our pitchers are tired of them.
I can understand that. It sounds to me, with the personnel you have returning and the new pieces you've added, and I like the Lewis pickup for Maryland. I've seen her play. That's a pretty nice pickup there. And a year experience under their belts, under your system. That's got to be another plus, too, why you feel really confident about your offense this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they have an idea of what we do. They understand the hitting philosophy. It's not that we're not reinventing the wheel here. It's just how we talk about things and how we go about it and the drills and the BP that we get every day. We've got Alyssa Billadu, our pitching coach, that throws great BP every day. She's been able to mix, all the things that we need. Bailey Taylor is our director of ops slash fourth coach, and she's able to throw BP. So they get to see arms every day. They get to see our pitching. We make things harder for them in practice so that when they get to the game, it seems a little bit easier. But definitely excited for the lineup that we can put out there. And we that was a strength last year. It's going to be a strength this year. And we've got a lot of pieces that and a lot of people that are going to be deserving of time.
You mentioned Gerald, the freshman of the year, the AAC. What talk about her and her game? Because she was under the radar because of the great monster year Jenna Lord had, but she had her own great year, as you mentioned, winning freshman of the year in AAC. What makes talk about her overall game and what she brings to the table?
Yeah, Jayla, I mean, she's one of those kids that just love to have fun and she loves ball. She's a crazy athlete. She can make the craziest play on the field that you've ever seen. And then she's able to kind of settle in and, get a hit, hit a home run, drop a bunt. Like she can do all of the things because of her, skill set and just her athleticism. Um, Jayla was hurt at the beginning of the season and she really didn't get in till I think FAU was her very first American Conference series. So she wasn't in the lineup really until then. And once she got her first game under her belt, she said, I was nervous. But after that, she just was playing ball and having fun. And I think that she plays with a looseness and you know, just she keeps everybody else loose and laughing. And I think that, once she was able to get in and get settled, she just was able to play her best and play healthy. And, we saw her do great things and really was a difference maker and a game changer for us and our lineup once she got in. I think that took our lineup to the next level too.
How do you feel about your defense going into the season? That's something you enjoy. You've
Yeah.
coached at one point, maybe still do.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your defense outlook here?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. I coached the infield. I have coached the infield basically my entire career and just something that I love. I think defense has been something that we've really harped on. Our defense was just in plain, and I've said this to our girls, just not good enough last year. We had way too many we had too many errors and we just gave people too many chances. And when you give good teams 4 and 5 outs in an inning, it's going to be really hard. and it's hard for the pitchers to work through that too. So that's something that we've been very honest about and something that we've really harped on throughout the fall. And I feel good. I feel good about our defense. I think that, you know, the we are very capable, and I think that the work that we are putting in, showed. I think we were really clean throughout the fall in our fall games, and I think that that's just something we want to continue to move forward with. We've got strong arms in the outfield, we've got range in the outfield, and same thing goes in the infield. We just have to, you know, I just say it's pretty simple. You got to make a good catch, you got to make a good throw, and you got to make a good catch, and things are going to go well.
So is part of improving defense, is it the experience, just the extra year and a year experience with some of the players you have back? Is it tweaking some things? Is it moving players around, or how do you improve that defense you talked about?
Yeah, I think it's just, you know, I think you go through a fall, and we had a lot of moving parts, and um, we maybe this fall we were able to really harp on some specific things that we didn't harp on as much last year. We just kind of let go and um, trying to put the best foot forward for that team. And then you see a year go by and you see some of the things like, hey, we need to tweak this, we need to tweak that. It hasn't been as much moving people around, although I can do that. I don't have a problem doing that and kind of mixing and matching. In the fall games, in our scrimmages, in our day-to-day work, the girls play a lot of the different positions, especially when it comes to the infield, but outfield too. I mean, they get fly balls everywhere. Infield, they get ground balls really everywhere. So, we haven't done a lot of maneuvering in that sense, but it's not something I'm opposed to. It's just really harping on the details. Maybe this fall breaking some more things down. I think too, maybe last year we spent a little bit more time hitting, versus this year. We know we can hit. So let's still do that, but maybe let's take a little bit more time on the defense and breaking a few things down, and really trying to harp on the things that we want.
Right. I mean, that's the balancing act when you have only so many limited hours practice and everything. Like, can't, trying to get to everything is sometimes a bit of a challenge. I know Tim Walton, Florida head coach, has told me that part of sometimes what you see early in the years, defenses struggle because teams, are focused on pitching offense and they're trying to figure out the defense during the year because of the reps, just a rep simple there for the practice standpoint. Pitching wise, I know when we spoke last year, that was something that you admitted. You were like, we're not as deep as we would like on an arm standpoint. How do you feel about your arms this year now? It's in your second year going in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel better. I think last year, our pitching staff as a whole, from the 24 season moving in, we had 43 innings of Division I softball. So, you feel like you don't have a lot as much coverage as you probably need. But the benefit of that is that our pitchers got a lot of work. They got a lot of experience. They were in big moments, and they were able to learn from that. So, we have Brooke Bowling coming back for her graduate year. And, we've seen her make good strides this fall. And just, I think we're just looking for consistency, not only with her, but the rest of the staff. Avery Shamlin's back. And, for her too, just consistency. Avery, took a ball off of the hand at our Clemson game last year, and had some good moments after that, but just was honestly didn't wasn't able to spin the ball as well. And so, those are things that we are working through and getting healthy. Um, Aubrey Arnold's coming back, and I think, she was a workhorse for us. I think she had the most appearances for us, and at times a little bit more spotty, and 2 innings here, 2 innings there, but being able to change it up from the left side, huge to have all three of those who got a lot of innings for us coming back and a lot of experience. And when you're getting that experience, there's going to be the good and the bad that go with that. But they've all been able to learn through it, and feel a lot better even with them and continuing their growth. Um, we have Lillian Berry, who's also coming back for us, who had some innings and is continuing to develop. And then our newcomers are Taylor Jones, who was a transfer from Queens, and Brianna Kemp, who's a freshman, and both a little bit more drop, and where our other pitchers are a little bit more up in the zone. So excited to have all of the arms and just kind of being able to piece them together. But that's obviously been something that we've harped on, is just the development there and continuing to get better. And I think Alyssa Bilodeau's done a great job of working hard with them and giving them individual attention, but then also giving them the group effort and getting them to pitch against our team. Like, they're seeing some of the best hitters that they'll see, and so they don't always enjoy that, but it's good to be able to face great hitters day in and day out, and it's only going to make you better.
Of course, by the way, we talked earlier about that FAU game. I want to make sure you don't get shortchanged. 8 runs in the sixth inning with 2 outs. All of it with 2 outs.
It was
You
was
won 8-6. Unbelievable.
it was really crazy. But one of those moments where you're like, we don't die, we just keep going, and
Sure.
um, that was really the resilience of the team, and the fight of the team was um probably the thing I was most proud of them and us as a program, is just we were fighters, and we never gave up. And as a coach, that's the type of team I want, and that's the type of team I want to see out there.
Yeah, I remember watching. I had to rewind it to like, wait, did this all happen with 2 outs? And it did. Like I said, you play a lot of entertaining games, and you play a lot of entertainings in the American Conference, fifth toughest conference in the sport, fifth best conference in the sport. Talk about the league, a multi-bid league last year. FAU, that's the regular season champs. The back-to-back regular season champs. South Florida, the tournament champions. Just talk about the league and what you learn being in the league in year one and going into year two.
Yeah, I mean, a really great softball league. Um, a lot of talented student athletes and a lot of talented pitching. I mean, there was, when you talk about FAU, when you talk about South Florida, when you talk about North Texas, there's multiple arms on each team that are legit and that cause, your hitters problems. And I think that, that kind of explains it. It's just up and down the league. There's not an easy weekend. And it's, we're only getting better and better. And I think, we're going to see that throughout this year too. But definitely good to get in and get a feel of a lot of ballparks that I hadn't been to, and, coaching against teams that I haven't seen as much of, but just very impressed with the league as a whole. And, excited to be able to go in and try to go win it this year.
I mentioned you played, I believe, a top 10 non-conference schedule, which was wild. I mean, it was just, and some of that is location because you got some tough games. You bust, going to Clemson, playing the Dukes of the world, everything. Uh, are you going to try to top yourself this year? What can we expect from a non-conference schedule standpoint this year?
No, there's gonna be no topping it, I don't think. That's, when you go to Clearwater, it's easy to put a schedule like that
It's
together.
true.
We started at LSU and had 2 games against them, and then, you're in Clearwater, and then just our location, which is one of the things that I loved about Charlotte, is just we're in a location that we can play ACC and SEC every week if we want, and I love that challenge. I have joked with our girls, we're still gonna have a tough schedule. It's not gonna be quite that tough, but we're gonna be challenged. And we're looking forward to that challenge. I think this year on the midweeks we have Clemson coming in. We go to NC State, we go to UNCG, we go to Duke. Couple that are just kind of right off the top of my head, but we go to South Carolina. we're going to Arkansas in a tournament this year, which I'm excited about. Played my first 2 years at Arkansas, so I haven't been in a while, and I'm looking forward to getting there and seeing some of my old teammates that live in the area. So, um, we're doing that. We're able to bring in Virginia Tech, Michigan State to one of our home tournaments, along with Villanova. We've got Boston, Marshall, Jacksonville coming. We've got a really tough schedule. That Arkansas tournament's going to be really tough. That might be our Clearwater this year. I think that it's like Arkansas, Omaha, Boise, Kansas, and us. So
It's pretty, yeah, pretty good.
gonna be good. So, and then you back that up into conference, and it's not easy. I think again, last year we started conference with really tough stretch. I want to say, um, I know we started at North Texas as we talked about, but then we had like South Florida at home, and then maybe FAU on the road. Like it was just bang,
Front
bang,
loaded, yeah, yeah.
and we start Florida Atlantic here, and then we go to South Florida. So we start with two right away. We're on the road, South Florida and UAB back-to-back weeks. So it doesn't get easy in our conference, and we're gonna hit the ground running again. So looking forward to the challenge and looking forward to a lot of good games and hopefully a lot of crazy games. So I love that. It's exciting and whether we're on the right or the wrong side of it, it's part of the game and what makes the game so great.
When was the last time you were at Fayetteville at Bogle?
It's been a long time. I played there. I was there the 2010 and 2011 seasons, and then I think I went to Fayetteville in 2013. So it's been a long time
Woo!
since I've been there. I
Lots
know.
changed there. Lots
I
changed. You'll
know.
find out. If the weather, depending on how the weather is, I think your hitters won't mind being there at Bogle a little bit. Their ball flies.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I don't know if our pitchers want to hear that,
Yeah,
but
they don't want to hear. Hopefully the weather is good. Sometimes, as you know, it can get a little cold there in Fayetteville too. But
we can.
that's
So
gonna be fun. That's gonna be unique though to see. I mean, it's gotta be like a full circle moment. You'll get some of your teammates. I assume your former teammates will be wearing 49ers gear.
they better.
They right like that's gotta be the prerequisite there. But that's gotta be unique for you there.
Yeah, it will. And the opportunity came up and we were trying to look for tournaments that made our schedule a little bit tougher and that was the teams, made sense. And our baseball team actually went to Arkansas last year too, and played them in a 3-game series. So it was right around that time that they were there and I was like, that sounds good. But I'm excited to get back to Fayetteville. I really did love the town. I love the school and it's been too long since I've been there, so excited to have that road trip. We don't go to the Midwest as much this year either. Last year we were at North Texas, we were at Wichita, we were at Tulsa,
It's true.
uh, and so we only go to San Antonio this year. I say only, but so we're making a trip to Arkansas.
You got to talk to the baseball director of ops about places to go eat there. I mean, because it's been so long. I don't. You may have to have Rick take recommendations.
Yeah, I'll talk to them. I know they have a connection with Arkansas too. I'll talk to them and I'll talk to my people that are out in
That's true.
Arkansas.
All
I
right.
got a lot of friends in kind of Arkansas and the Tulsa area and Oklahoma, so they'll still know the spots. They get to go there more than me.
Very fair. You mentioned you got Clemson coming into your place. That's going to be huge. You went there last year. That was your return,
Yeah.
which that was another wacky game because you jumped all over them. Coach Rittman, I spoke to about it, and he wasn't real. He's like, boy, that was too nice of a host there early. Jumped them early, but they came from behind, won the game, and actually, he said that was part of their turning point where they really turned their season around. Not that you wanted to hear that, but what was it like to be back at Clemson?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was obviously emotional. And I think, even being a year away, like not as emotional with a lot of the Clemson stuff, which has been really good. But yeah, it was definitely emotional. That team, every person on the team is somebody that I had a part in recruiting and, have relationships with. And on the staff as well, just a lot of good people and, a staff and a program that I'm always going to be close with and will have a place in my heart. But it was a little bit emotional, but I think once it's game time, it's game time, and there really wasn't a whole lot there. It was just playing a game, and You see we were able to get on them, but then in the end, they've got a great offense, which we knew, and they've got great pitching. They've got great everything. But you see some of these kids that you've coached, and I think Noller hit a bomb, and you're just like, it's hard to not be happy for them. Not in that moment, really, but I'm glad that they were able to kind of turn it around and have a lot of success last year, and as well as us. It just took us one more game.
Yeah, and I Rittman said you helped build that. I assume you followed them during the postseason. Was it strange following them in the regional supers and being that close to the World Series and that super regional against Texas?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking for them. I actually went to a couple of the regional games since it's close and definitely wanted to be there to support. Yeah, it was weird just not being a part of it, but that's the name of the game, and I wish for them that they would have been able to get it done. They were so close, and it just makes it that much more heartbreaking when it's like it's that close and you can kind of taste it. But that's the beauty and the the bad part about the game is it's just it's not over until it's over, and you've got to go finish it. But always wishing the best for Clemson, for Coach Rittman, for every player there. Just want them to have success, and I would have loved to see them get it done and make it to the World Series, whether I was around or not.
Do you talk to your players about, hey, I was at Clemson, I helped build that we could be that, or when you play some of the other opponents of getting to that level and the steps that you're taking towards that?
I try not to just like harp on that stuff because like in the end, if somebody says I've been this place, like you kind of tune that out. I think. But I do. I mean, I think you talk about your experiences, like that's a normal thing. And I talk to the girls more about like our level, and like I believe that the people that we have on this roster can compete against anybody. It doesn't matter what team it is, and who it is on the front of their chest. Like you can't get psyched out by that part of things. Like you've got to go play the game, and there's a reason you got to go play the game. And you see quote unquote upsets all the time, and that's why the game is played. So I definitely lean on my experience, but I try not to harp on this is where I've been and I know this because of it. Just want to, help them kind of gain confidence with the things that I believe in them and I believe that they can do.
One big topic this year, hopefully you'll be a part of this conversation, will be the committee will be seating 32 teams this year for the first time in the NCAA tournament after, obviously being going from 16 to 32. As somebody who's been involved in the tournaments as a player, and of course, most recently on the staff with Clemson, which definitely was involved in a lot of interesting conversations when it comes to seeding, what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for the game. I think that you want to have a fair assessment of, who is the top 16 and who is the top 32. And I think that the way that they're doing it is going to be great, and it will be interesting to see. And then, there's always going to be people that probably won't like that too. It's a never-ending cycle. But I do think it will be good for the game and to try to, if whoever the number one team is, they've played the entire year to get to that point. They deserve to not have as hard of a regional or to not have, as good of a team as the number 16 team. I mean, I think that that's not really debatable. So hopefully the seeding out to 32 is helpful and makes an impact in sending the right teams where they need to be.
Last thing as we let you go, as you obviously get closer to the season, what's going to be a couple keys you're looking forward to learning and finding out about your team that you think will help to define and determine this 2026 team?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always, are you healthy? Um, can you make it through a season healthy, and do you have all the pieces that you need to do that? And then, it's who steps up. Obviously, we are in a different spot than we were last year at this time. We didn't really know who would step up and who would be the leaders or who would be, the people that are getting it done for us, but we have a lot better idea of that, and we have a good idea, and no position is set, but we have an idea of those people. But who steps up around them and who steps up to help, and who kind of comes into their own, because we've got a lot of capable student athletes here that um, have the ability to make an impact on this team and kind of in their own way. So looking forward to that. And then, for us, we know that we can hit and we're going to have to hit. But, I think a key is just seeing our pitching staff take another step. And, there's going to be more information out on the ones that, have the experience now, but how can we take that next step, and how can we continue to get better in the circle? And then we talked on it too, our defense, just are we going to be able to solidify the defense and make sure that we're taking care of the routine and that we're helping our pitchers out, because the defense affects the pitching. Like, the pitchers are going to be better if we play better defense too. So to me, it's all connected, but I'm really looking forward to seeing, how this team comes together. And I have a lot of confidence and a lot of excitement around, our group and what, we're capable of doing. So come February, it's time to show it off. So hopefully we can do that. And the season is never smooth. You got to ride the waves, and really the team that rides the waves the best. They're the ones that you're seeing at the end of the year, playing in May.
That is Charlotte head coach Courtney Breault joining us here on In the Circle on D1 Softball. Coach, always great to have you back. I like this. We're becoming this annual get together. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck this upcoming season. Hopefully we'll cross paths during the year. But in the meantime, thanks for taking time from the busy time to talk to us here on In the Circle.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, and go Niners.